Yeah, I guess.
And we're live. Uh, minor technical difficulties this evening. Congratulations, you are here. Uh, Hi, this is the Crafty Boys, episode 205, and it's October 2019. I had to think about that. But apparently, Halloween's coming up. News to me. I wasn't sure
What?
about it. But
In October?
yeah, I know.
No.
Weird, huh? I
Yeah.
mean, All Saints Day, or what is it?
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah. So as you can tell, Dave is here. He's in town, and he's. I didn't actually know until a few hours ago. He's like, "Yeah, so we're doing the show tonight, right?" I'm like, "Yep, totally." He's like, "Great, I'll be over there around 7." I'm like, "Oh, okay, awesome." So how's it going? We missed last week because that guy was ill. So yeah, what can you do? You can't have a show when the whole crew is not here. Granted, Locke is busy in Toronto land,
yeah,
but yeah, at least
I wouldn't have been at all pleasant to look at last week.
yeah, you sounded horrible.
Yes, I felt horrible, but I feel a lot better now. So what beer are we drinking?
This is a beer that we chose 3 weeks
I
ago.
think a couple weeks ago.
We picked it a while ago. It's been sitting in.
Sure, we were going to get it.
True. I mean, it was sitting in my fridge for a while, but we're going back to going back. Not like we ever left, but Parallel 49 created this thing called Schadenfreude.
Is it Schadenfreude or is it Schadenfreude?
Yeah, great artwork on the front. But this is a beer that Alan. Do you want to read the side? Does it have a story on the side? Or, oh no,
Does it have a story on the side? You bet it's got a story on the side.
I hope so, because
we've
pop it open.
We've carved out a pumpkin. Oktoberfest. I can't read this.
It is hard to read because it does have the what do they call the expression of you color stuff wrong and you can't read the damn thing. It's got a dark purple in front. Oh, nuts.
Okay, it's on the website here, so I'm going to
We're just volumes of information.
All right, we've carved out a pumpkin Oktoberfest. Even Ichabod Crane would love. This hardy, malty lager is warmed by the mighty pumpkin and lifted with notes of cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and ginger. Brewed as a traditional Oktoberfest lager, this beer sets itself apart from other pumpkin ales by being light and refreshing. Pumpkin is used in the mash along with traditional pumpkin pie spicing in the brew kettle. A large portion of the grain used is Munich malt, which gives a nice pie crust flavor to the beer. It comes in at an ABV of 5%. And a serving temperature between 4 to 6 degrees Celsius.
That sounds like a lot of information. Let's drink.
Now, I'm surprised that we haven't done this beer before.
I looked back on our previous episodes and went to the spreadsheet, and no, we have not. It's got a nice color.
Just shocks me.
Very translucent. Sort of amber brown ale.
Mm-hmm.
But you were doing some information searches about what kind of beer this is and why do they call it an Oktoberfest beer?
Right. So an Oktoberfest beer. I'm just doing my pour here. What an awful pour. Nice head. I don't know if it's a nice head naturally or if it's a product of my poor pouring abilities. But anyway, so an Oktoberfest ale is actually a Marzen or Marzen beer, which is a lager that originated in Bavaria. It has a medium to full body and may vary in color from pale through amber to dark brown. It is the beer style that is traditionally served at Oktoberfest. in Germany, obviously.
I find
Interestingly, Bavarian Brewing Ordinance decreed in 1553, so that's a few years ago, that the beer may only be brewed between September 29th and April the 23rd. So unless this thing was brewed last spring, I don't think Parallel 49 is following that Bavarian Brewing Ordinance.
So you're saying that Parallel 49 is breaking some ancient laws from, a few hundred years ago.
From another country, yes.
So we're gonna report you guys. You're going down, Parallel 49. Your days are you're finished. You're never gonna brew in this town again.
That would be like the beer police. We could be the beer police.
We the beer police?
That's
now?
it. That's
No?
it. That's what we become.
Like,
Dun, dun,
we're
dun,
going-
dun. Beer police. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, sir. I'm Brewery X. We're gonna have to ask you to stop doing that because there's a few things that we've noticed about your brewing abilities, and I do believe that we're gonna have to shut you down because
Hey, Parallel 49, put down the beer, drop the beer, kick it towards me.
Fragrance violations. The hops don't smell right. The yeast does not have that thing on the back of your tongue as a proper brewing beer does, and of course we're gonna have to inspect all of your grain bags because the grains and the oats and the other stuff you put in whatever kind of beer you're making is it's all gonna have to I'll have to take it all downtown, all of your kegs too, down to the office to be thoroughly inspected because if we don't do that, public is going to lose faith in the authority vested in the Crafty boys in the beer police, and that's how it's going to have to be.
All right.
It's just saying, what the hell just
What
happened
just
there?
happened? What is going on? So anyway, but overall, if you want to know more about the beer, of course, you can check out the website. But of course, there is the hops used Magnum, which I really like that websites do this. The yeasts are the European lager yeast, which I wish they were a little more detailed. Malts they've used, all that kind of fun stuff. But of course, they've thrown in pumpkin, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and allspice to give it that proper time of the year taste. And my head's gone. I don't know.
It disappeared.
Yeah, mine just
Mine is gone too.
the entire beer or the head? Okay, good. So
The head is almost completely vanished.
Plug.
I just want to point out that some of our viewers are asking about what kind of grain bags we're going to be searching. Always with the grain bags. So I think we're having more fun than everyone else. But yeah, I mean, this beer tastes like what I expect October-ish beers to taste like.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes me sad, but kind of makes me have a level of comfort that I think I like, because I expect beers around this time to be flavored this way. So
But why?
Well, let me tell you something. I do feel what?
I said, bring it on. So let's hear it.
Okay. I do feel like there is a movement afoot that pumpkin in anything has kind of run its course. In fact, people despise the fact that at this time of year, pumpkin is in practically everything. And if it's not pumpkin, it's pumpkin spice that's in things. People are sick and tired of pumpkins being in everything in October. And that's true for beer. I think the style has largely run its course. Having said that, there are some outliers. Schadenfreude is one of those. It's one of the better pumpkin beers that's on the market. The other one I would say is Crooked Tooth from Phillips, and more importantly, their Crookeder Tooth, which is their barrel aged version
Is that
of.
what we did? We did
good.
that last year. Yeah.
We did Crookeder Tooth last year. Yes,
That's one of my absolute favorites. That one.
it was really good. If you
You see it today?
Crookeder Tooth. I saw it a few days ago, last week.
Oh,
yeah. I think I saw it in my Cascadia.
that's another one of those beers that when it comes out, get it because it goes fast.
I remember because
so
we
damn
did
good.
Crooked Tooth and then we did Crookeder Tooth like the following week, if I remember correctly.
Right. Okay.
And they were similar in taste, but they had. I mean, again, I'd have to go back and look at the tapes. But I remember that we thought that the Crookeder Tooth was the superior version.
So good.
Right.
Yeah, I still,
So-
we've been doing this show a while, and I still can't get over the fact every time you say, oh, "I like that beer," I still go, "He hated beer when we started."
Okay, so what do we think about this? I mean, I've had this before. This is why I'm surprised we haven't done this on the show before. But how do you guys feel about
I
it?
think I saw it last year.
Yeah.
Right. I am not minding this. On a scale of this to Crookeder Tooth, well, I would have to say.
Well, don't compare it to Crookeder Tooth.
What flavor is coming through the strongest for you guys? Like this? Okay, we've got the pumpkin, which is a very mild kind of thing, but I'm finding that maybe the it's like the nutmeg is sort of overpowering, maybe even the allspice.
Yeah. Well, as one of the spices, it's certainly not the cinnamon. It's either the nutmeg or the allspice, one or the other. And I can't put my finger on it.
I can't distinguish. My tongue's not that good, but I would agree. You get plenty of that. The what do they call it? The adjuncts.
The adjuncts.
I think that's what.
Yes,
they
the
called
adjuncts
it
in
officially.
here are the pumpkin, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and allspice. So those definitely. I mean, they're working together. I mean, that's a combination that's been around for a bazillion years. I mean, we've never not had that in my memory anyway. When pumpkin became a thing, but I agree. I think there's definitely something to be said for the the course has been done for pumpkin flavoring in things. I mean, I think the reality is that I think a couple of years ago they had that thing on the internet that happened where the pumpkin vomit at Starbucks was revealed. Pardon me, like they had these large plastic jugs of like pumpkin spice, which just looked like a you know either Jack the Ripper took a bunch of pumpkins and slashed them up and then ground them into mince or whatever. I mean that's basically what it was. And then somebody made the comment. Now I mean this was on the news very briefly, probably last year, maybe the year before, but whether or not the pumpkin was actually pumpkin, which I suspect it probably isn't.
Okay. Well, I want to get back to this. Okay, we're gonna go off the rails here with this topic, but let's get back to the beer for a second.
Okay.
Let's rate the beer and get finished with the beer, and then we're gonna go and talk back about
thing you like now. Okay. What do you give this beer on a scale of 1 to 10?
Scale of 1 to 10. Okay. 6.275. You're gonna have to bring your math, man.
I give it a 17.5.
6.25.
275.
Oh, sorry. 275 out of 10. All right, Alan, what is your rating?
For the style, I'd probably give it a 7.
Interesting.
Yourself, sir.
Give me a moment. I'll give it a 6.51. Because it really is it's not stunning, like it's not bad, but it's a little higher on the good side as opposed to, like, if it was a Sith Lord, it would be almost a Jedi again, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, like if it went to the dark side and decided, turned around and said, choking people out and, shocking them to death is cool, but I kind of like the whole, hanging out with wildebeest or whatever those creatures were in that second film that should be unnamed. But yeah, I think there's a bit of love, I think, that we can appreciate here.
Okay.
But it's not knocking out of the park. But I think you're right, reminding me about Crooked Tooth and Crookeder Tooth. Like IPAs, we have a certain bar that IPAs must hit. This one, for the Oktoberfest bar, doesn't quite make it. And now I want a Crookeder Tooth.
Well, I just want to point out that we probably shouldn't compare this one to Crookeder Tooth, because Crookeder Tooth is actually is a barrel aged
Tooth
beer,
Yeah.
and this one is not.
Yeah.
If this one was barrel aged, then we could compare it to. We could probably compare this one to Crooked Tooth.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe I had.
You didn't have that?
I don't think so.
Actually, no, I think I do recall. Yes, you only had the second.
Definitely remember on Crookeder Tooth.
Yeah, that you only had that because, because last year Alan and I we did both because we just happened to see them, I think, at the same time. I think you were away or something. So, pardon me. But overall,
okay,
it's a decent beer. I definitely recommend checking it out. And if you do, blame Dave.
Yes.
Crookeder Tooth by
Okay.
49.
So getting back to what we were talking about before,
which I don't remember what that was.
Well, okay, so we were talking about how Starbucks puts pumpkin spice in.
Oh yeah, things.
And people were saying that there was no pumpkin in it. So I got a news flash for people that pumpkin spice does not have pumpkin in it. Pumpkin spice is merely a spice that is used in pumpkin things. Those people might also be shocked to learn that there's no poultry in poultry seasoning.
You heard it here first.
It's true.
You heard it here first.
There is no pumpkin in pumpkin spice. If you get a pumpkin spice something and complain that there's no pumpkin in it, you're dumb.
Oh, wow. Wow. The short is out. The short is out, people.
Shane is done, ladies and
Dave,
gentlemen.
I see. First of all, I can't pronounce sword, and I just called Alan Dave. So
Wow.
It says only 5%, but I don't believe it. I think that's maybe the secret, is that there's like, actually, let's do 9.5. But very. Have you heard any beer news there, Alan? Have you got any wisdom for?
No, I have not.
You have none.
I have none.
Well, I want to point out that we have to have a moment of silence, because in Australia yesterday, a truck crash happened and spilled a lot of beer on the highway. To that beer, we say,
moment of silence, please.
it was Victoria Bitter, from the province or state or whatever they call them down there. State, I think, of Victoria or something. Is that right? Is that right? Tell me, I don't know. Yes. Okay, good. We send out the love to the brewers this awful day.
I can't speak right
You
now.
can't speak.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't. I when bitter hits the ground. I mean, what else can you do? Anyway,
You can cry over spilled beer.
that's true. You can always cry over spilled beer. There's never a moment where you could not cry regarding spilled beer. But thank you for the show today because Alan's internet's been giving him grief apparently all afternoon, and he just left the show. He's gone. His internet has crashed finally. So we'll leave it there. Thank you all for watching, and we will. Oh!
I'm back.
Alan's.
I was frozen.
We were just giving you like a eulogy there to say that it's too bad that Alan's gone. It's
I'm suffering from slow internet tonight. So we stopped because we were having a moment of silence because in Australia, what happened in Australia?
beer broke on highway.
Oh
And,
no.
Life is terrible. But anyway, on that note, thank you all for watching. Do all the stuff, and we'll see you all next week with another beer from this particular season of awesome.